Welcome back to CryptosRUs. I am George. We're all George. So, since this morning, we had a decent rally, a small little recovery. However, it may be coming to an end because of one person. We know him as Gary Gensler. He and his agency, the SEC, is declaring they own all of Ethereum. Now, why do they think they own all of Ethereum? Well, that's what I'm going to be discussing today. And let's discuss some Bitcoin and crypto news. So let's get started. Smash up the like, subscribe to the channel, make sure you hit that notification bell to get notified of all my streams. Follow me on social media, check out CryptosRUs.com, and make sure you follow my other channels as well. Good evening, guys. Welcome. Looking through a live chat, there are a lot of people that are very, very drunk right now. But not me, though. Not me. Like I said, we had a decent recovery since this morning. Bitcoin is back to 19.5. Definitely better than this morning when we were in 18.4, 18.5-ish, right? So we're up slightly. That's good. Overall market cap is up slightly. That's good, but obviously still far off from where we were just a few days ago when the global market cap was above $1 trillion. So we're definitely still down about 60 billion. And fear is very high. I haven't checked the fear index in quite a long time. 23 out of 100. We're back to extreme fear level. But here's the good news. Whenever there's a clump of fear, and yes, we've been stuck in this clump right here for quite some time. Whenever there's a clump of fear, usually good things happen afterwards. You could see over here back in 2018, also a clump of fear, and then afterwards, when the fear went away, had a good recovery. And then here, also a clump of fear, although that was a smaller time frame. But yeah, we're definitely still in that clump of fear. That's never good. That's never good until afterwards. That's when it gets good. But as for Bitcoin, there's still a lot of a lot of smart people that are in to buy the dip, right? You hear that from a lot of crypto people, especially Bitcoiners. You buy the dip when things are cheap, when prices are low. Right? What do? You buy the dip. You buy the dip and you DCA and you HODL, right? Really, that's the real winning strategy right there. And data reveals that's exactly what people are doing. Whenever there is extreme fear, whenever there's extreme, dip or correction, or whenever we're near a low point, people come in and buy Bitcoin, Ethereum, and many others, right? So the holders are definitely strong. Even the newcomers into the space, the ones that are actually learning why they need to be in Bitcoin and Ethereum and others, right? They continue to come in and buy too, which is why number of addresses with over 1 Bitcoin is still skyrocketing at an all-time high. Has not changed. So Bitcoin is still strong, not going anywhere anytime soon, right? And Stephen Chow, I'm not sure who he is, but he made a good point. Right now, as fearful as it may seem, it's very similar to when Bitcoin was below 4,000, around 3,200, around 3,000, right in 2018, right? It felt like that. The sentiment is just so bearish. There's so much fear out there, right? But obviously, 3,000 Bitcoin and 20,000 Bitcoin, a big difference, right? But it feels the same. It feels the same. And many people at that time also gave up, thinking that Bitcoin was going to drop to 1,000 or even below, or Bitcoin was done and is too manipulated and the governments control it and this and that. All the excuses come out, right? And had you listened to any of those excuses or any of the naysayers that told you to get out, well, you would have missed out all the tremendous gains that came afterwards, right? So don't give up. Bitcoin is the way. And the more you learn about the mess that we're in, the macro stuff, the big mess that governments around the world caused, the more you learn it, the more you realize that we need something better. And that is why I believe so many people are turning to Bitcoin. In fact, today I learned something new. I was reading some more articles. Someone commented this morning because I was talking about bond rates and bond yield rates going up because no one is buying. Well, that's only half true. The other half, reason why bond yields are going up is because the government is dumping, they're trying to get rid of their balance sheet, right? So they're dumping a lot of the bonds that they hold, and partly it's because of quantitative tightening, right? But also because they need the money. And plus, I heard an interesting theory about why they actually want the Fed, when I say they, actually want inflation to be high and prices to be high. But that's another story that I'll get into another day. But man, the more you learn about the mess, the macro mess that the U.S. is in and other countries are in, the more you realize we need something better, like Bitcoin, right? So that's why don't give up, focus on the future, and have patience. All right, now let's talk about the meat and potatoes of today's show, and that is the SEC. The SEC, we know, is the governing body of the U.S., led by this guy, this handsome fellow right here, Gary Gensler, who taught a lot of classes at MIT, so obviously very smart. Also someone that has a net worth of over $100 million. $100 million, so obviously very rich. But there's a lot of controversy around his wealth and his power, and now it seems like there's no limits on his jurisdiction because he and the SEC just declared that all of Ethereum is his, under his control. All of Ethereum, not just the project itself. Every project, every token, every dApp, every DeFi project, everything that is ERC20 based on top of Ethereum belongs to the SEC. So he just made that declaration, okay? It's a big declaration considering the CFTC already declared that they're taking over Ethereum along with Bitcoin because Ethereum is a commodity, right? SEC, before Gary, declared that Ethereum was a commodity. But you know what? Gary seems to have changed his mind. He now believes Ethereum is a security. And not only that, every project within Ethereum is also his. Every single one. And here's his justification, okay? So, there is another project from 2018 called Sparkster. I don't really remember it, but it was one that was pumped up and created and sold by an influencer, Ian Bolania, which at the time in 2017, 2018 was very, very big. He is also the one that supposedly left his private keys within a cloud service, and hackers stole it and he lost all his crypto, supposedly. Don't know if that's the real thing or he just didn't want to pay taxes, right? But anyways, the SEC has settled with Sparkster. Sparkster is going to pay $35 million, basically shut down, destroy all their tokens, and this and that. But in addition, the SEC is suing Ian Bolania because of this and improper disclosure in terms of how much he actually held and all this other stuff, right? But within this lawsuit, people are digging, and this is the section that says they control Ethereum, and I will explain. All right. Okay, let's just read at the last point. I'll read the whole thing. The U.S.-based investors in Bolania's pool committed to transactions when, from within the United States, they sent their ETH contributions to his pool. At that point, their ETH contributions were validated by a network of nodes on the Ethereum blockchain, which are clustered more densely in the United States than any other country. As a result, transactions took place in the United States. So what does this mean exactly? Well, the SEC is making the case that since majority of the nodes and the miners were in the United States, okay, even though not all, just a majority of it was in the United States. And in fact, it's not even a majority, but the largest chunk was in the United States. Because of that, any transactions that were processed on the Ethereum blockchain belongs to the SEC and belongs within the United States jurisdiction. That's what they're saying. Right? So if you look at right now, if you look at the node tracker after moving to proof of stake, the United States supposedly has about 46% of the nodes. Then you have Germany, about 19%, and Russia, Canada, blah, 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 right? But if you look at it, the United States is still below 50%, right? So majority of the nodes running Ethereum today is still outside the U.S. But because Gary sees the United States processing or having at least 46% of the nodes and potentially processing 46% of the transactions, somehow that gives them a right to just take control of the entire network and say anything that runs on top of Ethereum is within your U.S. jurisdiction and within the jurisdiction of SEC. That is what Gary is saying, which I don't know if you could just make that declaration. First of all, I don't think so. And second of all, it's not that the United States owns more than 50%. It's not majority, right? So the majority of it is still outside the U.S. And even if the majority was in the U.S., that doesn't mean automatically that you just declare the whole thing belongs to the U.S. So what Gary is doing is claiming that Ethereum belongs to the U.S. And second of all, because it belongs to the U.S., then it's a security, and then he is in control of it. Basically, that's what he's declaring. So I don't know if anyone's going to challenge this, right? Obviously, Ripple is trying to, right? The CFTC recently is coming out and saying, we want to be the crypto watchdog. We don't want the SEC to take over, right? But in the meantime, Gary is just like, you know what? Since no one's going to stop us, we're just going to do it right now, right? We're going to just go wait until someone challenges us. So we're just going to declare it. So it's quite disturbing. It's a very disturbing declaration. And I don't know who's going to challenge it. If the CFTCs go challenges, because CFTC already said Ethereum belongs to us. If Ripple's go challenge it, because Ripple's trying to prove themselves not being a security, or XRP is not a security, and they didn't sell XRP in an illegal token sale, right? Because they're a commodity and they're trying to use Ethereum as evidence, right? But their SEC doesn't want to give them evidence. So if this is the case, then Ripple loses automatically, right? Because Ripple is trying to use what SEC declared before, use that evidence and testimony from the prior director, why Ethereum was a commodity, right? Why it was declared a commodity, and Ripple wants that evidence so that they can use that for their defense. But if SEC now is claiming Ethereum as a security, then Ripple has no defense. Ripple is out of luck, right? So this has broad implications, very broad implications. So every single project that is on top of Ethereum basically can be declared a security and can be declared within a jurisdiction SEC, even if they didn't have a token offering, even if they're truly decentralized, even if the founders have no share, right, of the tokens, never sold it. Just the fact that they're processing their transactions on top of Ethereum gives them the right to control it. Think about that, right? And that's the latest. Well, that's the best I could say right now. I don't know where this is going to go. I don't know who's going to challenge it, right? But right now, it's not looking good. So let's see if SEC is going to go after anyone else next, because right now, they're secretly attacking a lot of projects right now. So we'll see who's next on their radar. But right now, we need someone to stand up against SEC and against Gary at this point. All right, so that's the main story there that I want to talk about. Outside of this, just a few small things. Cosmos has been doing very well recently, right? So been looking into more Cosmos, why Cosmos is up. Well, besides the interchain security and some of the developments like Van Eyck, really bullish on them, there is a big upgrade, Atom 2.0, and supposedly there will be some kind of burning that will make EIP 1559 look like a joke. And if you don't know what EIP 1559 is, it was the introduction of coin burning. So basically, Atom 2.0 will include revised token economics, and they're going to have some kind of burning that will make it very, very deflationary. That's what people are excited about, which is why it has been going up. So there's more and more coming out. I don't know when exactly it will be announced, probably during Cosmosverse 2022, which is when. I don't actually know when it's going to be, but it's going to be September 26th to 28th. So that's next week. And that could be announced next week. So this could be buy the rumor, sell the news, or it could be buy the rumor, buy the news. Right now it's probably the buy the rumor, sell the news, but who knows? So it's very, very exciting. And that's pretty much it. Not much else going on today. Obviously the SEC story is the biggest thing, right? So it's a little concerning there. But the good news is, I guess, even with this damning declaration, Ethereum is up slightly from yesterday. And also, I just got done talking about XRP, and XRP seems to be still trying to recover. There does seem to be more indications that Ripple may be winning this case against the SEC. But here's the thing. Like I said, if SEC all of a sudden declares Ethereum a security, then I don't know where the defense will come from. So I don't actually know, right? So maybe this whole plot is just to win against Ripple. It's interesting to think about. All right. Let's do some Q&A. Jim, see, that's a good point. Does Gensler imagine he owns and controls the internet data just because a large portion of it is processed or traverses, U.S. grounds? I don't know. Gary's just taking advantage of the situation right now. Not a whole lot of people's caring about, jurisdictions of this or that, because right now everyone's worried about inflation and fund rates and war and the macro stuff, right? That's what everyone's focused on. But Gary's taking advantage of situations like, okay, while no one's paying attention, I'm just gonna make all these declarations, and until I get challenged, I'm just gonna consider them legit. That's exactly what's happening right now. So yeah. All right, let me scroll through here. Let me see. There's no one standing up to SEC. Only Ripple. You have to have deep pockets to be able to stand up against the SEC. Brad said, they're spending $100 million, in their defense. Right? Very little projects have $100 million laying around, so not a whole lot of people standing up. Algo belongs to America too now. I mean, his declaration is just, I think it's just really, 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 really stretching it. Really stretching it. Zach says stack ETH now. Well, I still believe in long-term prospects of Ethereum. I still think Ethereum's going to do great things. But, Gary's throwing a wrench. Definitely, for sure. This is going to turn off a lot of people, right? So we will see. what's going to happen here. Why is Gensler such a jerk? I don't know. You know, people discover, you know, I said it was not a lot of people are a fan of Gensler. Well, it turns out that $100 million of his fortune is with, what was the story? It's with a hedge fund that was shorting GME and AMC, right? You know how he was coming out and really damning all the people that are pumping AMC and GME, but it turns out secretly Gary was shorting them all along, which is why, like, if you look at that, there's a conflict of interest, right? So, but after that came out, it really pissed off a lot of people. But, and how did he get $100 million in the first place, huh? That's what I want to know. I sent you a tweet with good video explaining lumber prices. Michael, appreciate that. I haven't checked Twitter in a long time. I'll check it out. Gabriel, I wouldn't want to go to Starbucks if I was Gary. I don't know if anyone would recognize him. Besides me looking at his face all day long, I don't know if he was standing in Starbucks if anyone would recognize him. I would, though. George, thoughts on Cardano's using Nervos? I mean, that's been rumored for a while. Nervos is supposed to be their kind of interoperability play, where Nervos is going to act like a bridge for many other tokens. I don't know the exact details about it, but that's been talked about for quite a long time. And I haven't heard about it recently. It's not something that Charles, I think, really supports. It's just that Nervos is built to kind of help with that, right? I don't know. It's not a bad thing for Nervos, but Nervos is really concentrating not on Cardano. They're concentrating on EVM. They're concentrating Ethereum with their layer 2. They used to call it Godwoken. They changed it to something else, but they're really trying to get into Ethereum space. Miguelon asks, can you hack Blockstream and change Bitcoin's code? No. Because even if you did, you have to convince the miners to accept the code. So it's nearly impossible. Bitcoin is open source. You could download the code and modify it and change it and try to push it out, right? But you got to get people to accept the code. So that's the beauty of the network. So even if someone takes the code and tries to push it out, if the miners don't accept it, it's worthless, right? You could try to fork your own Bitcoin, and many people have. Can we change the giant face of Gary to something else, please? You don't want to see that smile? I'm just trying to show the headlines here because I think most people coming in is like, what? What are you talking about? Wow. If you're coming in for first time, rewind a little bit because Anthony, thoughts on Near? Near is very interesting. Near at one point I thought was moving the same direction as Solana, which was upwards. Near is very volatile, goes up and down quite a lot, but they have a lot of things going on. They got a lot of stable coins now. They have a decent amount of DeFi and still growing. They got good backers. Something they introduced recently too. I forgot. There was some big thing that was introduced recently. They're having their NearCon or something like that. Their conference too. But they're turning out to be a decent L1, a decent play. I think they could do well in the future. Please check the Forbes article I sent here. It shows Gary's a fraud. MIT class was arranged to pretend knowledge of cryptos. You can't put a link in here, but I'll try to look that up later. ApeCoin is strong. That's because of staking. They have introduced ApeCoin staking, so it has been doing better recently, holding above $5, which is good. Obviously, want to see some more momentum, get back up to the 7s like before. But right now, it's just really hard for any project to really hold on to their gains, right? But that's just the beginning. I'm waiting to see what happens with Yuga Labs and their meta side or other side, not meta side, other side. I want to see what happens. What about Pocket Network? I never heard of Pocket Network. I'm sorry. The Zeno bot designer. We don't just talk about Ethereum. We are talking about the implication for all ERC 2020s. Yes, everything that resides on the Ethereum network, he wants to control it, right? This includes DeFi, includes NFT projects, includes tokenization, bridges, everything else existing, right? You could even say wallets that make transactions over the Ethereum network. Are they going to be considered under jurisdiction too? I mean, it's like this declaration that like just because it's not even a majority, just because you have like 46% of the nodes within the US, which is not above 50%, right? So if it was above 50%, like 55% or something, I would say, okay, it's a light argument, but I get it. But it's not even over 50%, right? United States doesn't own more than 50% of nodes. So, it's a non-argument. But basically he's saying, because the United States has such a large portion of nodes and there's a large portion of, the transactions and validation, well, then that everything on top of Ethereum belongs to the US. That doesn't make, no, you can't just say that. You can't just say that. That's like saying, I don't know what that's like saying. Yeah, someone made this point, like internet traffic, a lot of internet traffic gets bounced around US servers and nodes and stuff like that. Does that mean all the traffic, all the websites, all the websites and mobile apps and games that somehow their transaction gets transacted in the US belongs to the US? I mean, it's almost like saying that. It doesn't make a lot of sense. He's coming for our Legos next. Hopefully not. Man, I want to buy some new Lego sets. It's been a while since I bought some. I'm eyeing that new lighthouse they have. Looks really legit. I never picked up the Camaro one either. I need to pick that up. Why didn't want to control ETH so bad? Taxes, yes. Also, think about it. ETH controls majority of the tokens, right? DeFi is on top of ETH for the most part. Right, so there's a lot of implications there, but taxes is probably a big one. Troy, that's a good analogy. George gets 40% of YouTube traffic, therefore George is YouTube and controls YouTube. That's kind of like what it's saying. Like, of course, I don't control 40%. Like, it would be saying, like, if Mr. Beast somehow gets 46% of all views on YouTube, YouTube belongs to Mr. Beast. That's kind of like what it's saying in a way. Is Gary trying to take ETH, making ADA more appealing? Well, judging by its current growth, no. So it just seems like not a whole lot of people paying attention to Cardano at this point. Turns, I'm still a big fan of Matic. I think they still are doing great things. Great things. Still a lot of brands coming aboard with their NFT projects. A lot of games coming aboard. I mean, you have game makers, developers left and right. There's a lot of stuff happening on Polygon/Matic. Over 50,000 apps at this point. I mean, they are huge. I'm a big fan of Matic. I think they should be in top 10. There's no doubt about it. They should be in top 10. They're not far off. They're at number 13. Any reliable news on what's happening to Voyager? No news about who bought their assets. Rumors are it's FTX and Alameda Research and Sam Bankman-Fried. But outside of that, it's just rumors right now. Nothing officially declared. What do we do our mining rigs now? That's up to you. You can mine Ethereum Classic, you can mine Ergo, or you could turn it off and just sell the GPU on eBay or sell it somewhere else. It's up to you. Any reason why Algorand is pumping? Not particularly. I didn't see anything. Where's Algorand? 10% is a good movement. Algorand tends to have good news. I mean, they still have their big FIFA partnership. Some of this is a little deceiving. It's up 14%. Keep in mind how much it was down recently. So for the week, it's only up about 7%. But I guess compared to its peers, it's doing better, right? I'll have to look more into Algorand. I didn't see anything recently. Sats Anonymous. Hey, George, SEC's mission is to protect investors, maintain fair, orderly, and efficient markets. Thoughts? Well, all good intentions start good. And then they turn out horrible because of greed, egos, bad actors, right? One of the three or all three combined. So I'm not so sure the SEC's mission is really to protect investors at this point. Maybe to protect the U.S. government, or maybe to protect the IRS so they get their fair share of taxes. I don't know. I mean, some of the projects they attack, I think, should be attacked, right? Some of the projects that are really scammy should be taken down. But there's so many of those, right, that the SEC could be going after. But instead, they're trying to go after Ethereum at this point, And it could be it's just because they don't want to lose that case against Ripple. I think there's definitely something to that. With stablecoin, what do you prefer? I prefer. I think USDC is still my preference, but then BUSD is growing like crazy right now, being added to all the chains, all the exchanges, all the wallets. BUSD is going to be a powerhouse. So I live in Texas. FTX didn't allow me to buy Cosmos. Well, Ed, you may want to look at MEXC, which is my new partner. They're overseas, but they have no KYC. They'll allow you to buy Cosmos and Ripple and everything else that you want. So they've been around for quite some time. I've used them before. Pretty good. So check them out. And anyone else that's looking for a good alternative exchange overseas, especially since like KuCoin unfortunately has been cracking down on how much you can withdraw, and certain tokens is not available on KuCoin for U.S. citizens, even though you're on the platform, which is surprised the hell out of me. Right? For if you guys are looking for a good alternative to KuCoin, check out MEXC. My link is in the description. Is there any educational video where I can learn about XRP? There's only one that I know of. And I am the only person on the planet Earth that has a copy of it. So you're in luck. You're in luck because I happen to be in the mood to play it tonight since XRP is doing so well. People don't know this, but the more I play that video, the more XRP pumps. It's like code. So all right. What are your thoughts on Yearn? Haven't really paid attention to it for a while. After Andre left, Andre Croy kind of. To be fair, even when he didn't leave, I was never a big fan of that project. Tiberius, I love MEXC. I'm using it more than KuCoin. Their interface is easy. Yeah, it's actually pretty easy to use. It's a nice exchange. The biggest thing about KuCoin is, like I said, like even though you can't do KYC, first of all, even if you wanted to, but the second of all, you know, they're putting a lot of restrictions on U.S. residents now, a lot, you know, so it's almost like, you know, you're limited in what you could do. So it's a good alternative. All right, guys, let's conclude. Overall, we have a slight recovery tonight, but one person is trying to stop that. And his name is Gary Gensler. And he believes just because a good amount of transactions on Ethereum's network means that he has jurisdiction to take it over, that everything that runs on Ethereum belongs to him and belongs to the US too, which is something that should be challenged. And I don't know who's going to challenge them. Hopefully someone. And hopefully we put a stop to this nonsense. All right. But in the meantime, stay strong, my friends. And I will see you guys tomorrow, 8:15 a.m. Central Standard Time. And we'll see what happens. All right. Have a good one. And you guys are in for a treat because I will be playing. And I never play this. You guys know this. I never, ever play it. But I will today. The most educational XRP video ever created. So enjoy.
What do you think about Ripple?
Well, I mean, I think it's too centralized, but I definitely want to meet Chris Larson.